Okay, let's talk about writing arithmetic sequence as a function. Okay, let's take a look at this example here. Find the 50th term. Okay, and that could be represented as A50, right? That means the 50th term of the following sequence, which is 14, 11, 8, and 5. Okay, first of all, before I do anything, I know that this is the first number, right? Here, that's the first number. That's the second number, that's the third number, and that's the fourth number. So I have coordinates, right? And I'm going to be creating a table. So I'm going to have my x, which is basically my position, right? And let's do a straight line here. And I have my y's, which is basically my terms, right? I'm looking for the 50 terms. So now, let's write it down. We got 1, 14, 2, 11, 3 is 8, and 4 is 5. Now, if you guys remember to write down an equation or a function, you guys need the slope, right? And we need the y-intercept, slope and the y-intercept. So let's find out if this is an arithmetic sequence. Let's find out if we have a common difference. So we know from here to there, 14 to 11, we are subtracting 3. From 11 to 8, we are subtracting 3. And from 8 to 5, we are subtracting 3. That's the common difference right there. It's always the same, it's -3. Also, we notice that from here for here, because we're talking about positions, we're going to be adding always 1. Adding 1, another one, another one. Now, how do I find the slope? From previous chapters, we know that the slope is basically the change in y over the change in x. The change in y is 3. The change in x is 1. Basically, your slope in an arithmetic sequence is going to be your common difference. So yes, your slope m is going to be your d, your common difference. And that is equal to 3 over 1. Oh, sorry, -3. That's not 3, that's -3 right there. I forgot about the sign. And that's a -3 right there. So we got the slope already. Remember, we're following the slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus, and let me get a different color here, d. Okay, so I got my slope. I need my y-intercept. How do I find out the y-intercept? If you guys remember from the previous chapter, the y-intercept is when you get the x equals to 0. Well, if we go backwards, okay, if we go backwards 1, the position before 1 is going to be 0, right? This number over here, okay, for the 0, well, instead of subtracting 3, we're going to do the opposite, which is adding 3. So that will be a 17 right there. See, this is my y-intercepts. The number, the position before the 1, because x is equal to 0. So my y-intercept is going to be 17. Now I got all the information to write down the equation of the function. So y equals, slope is -3, remember, times x plus 17. This is my equation there, right? If you're going to write it down as a function using the 8, right? So that will be a of n is equal to -3x plus 17. Now, how do we find out the 50 term? Sorry about that. How do we find out the 50 term? Well, basically, instead of going, like we said before, going on, subtracting 3 until you get to 50, we can plug in a 50, okay, in the x's, because the x is the position, and then we can solve that and we get what we want. So we're looking for a of 50. It's a function, right? A of 50. We're going to be plugging 50 into the x. So it's going to be basically -3, right, times your x, which is 50, plus 17. Okay, so basically you're plugging in a 50, right? So instead of calling x, we can call that n, right? The position here. So that's your n, your x, whatever you want to call it. Remember, x and n is the same thing here. So we do that. A of 50 is equal to -3 times 50, that's -150, plus 17. So 8 of 50, the 50 term, okay, the 50 term there is going to be -150 plus 17, which is -133. Okay, and that is my 50 term, -133. All right, so I want you guys to try a new one, okay? See if you guys can handle it. Let me flip the page. Let me get one for you. See if you guys can figure it out. It's gonna be a little different. See if you guys are geniuses and can figure it out. So let's do B, example B. Let me give you a sequence: 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to know, what is my 25th term? That's my question. What is my 25th term? Okay? Pause the video, okay? And see if you can get the answer. All right, so let's go over it. Okay, first of all, you can go and, keep going, until you get to the 25th term. But again, that takes a long time, and I could be a mean guy and have over here the 250 term, and that will take you forever. So again, let's create a table. I got my n's, which is basically my x's, right? Let's do it like this. I got the n of n, which is basically my y's. Remember, this is my first number, second number, third number, fourth number, and so on. So first number is 4. Second number here, the term is 5. The third one, the term is 6. And the fourth one, the term is 7. Okay, simple as that. Let's figure it out, what's going on. We know over here is always changing by 1, because it goes by order. Over here, well, what is happening here? Okay, how is this moving? How is this changing? What is my common difference? Well, in this case, looks like we're also changing by 1. So my common difference is 1, which is basically the slope. Common difference is the slope here for a arithmetic sequence. So I got my slope, which is 1. That's my slope. I need my y-intercept. Oh, I need my b. Okay, because remember, we're using y equals mx plus b. We're using the slope intercept form. So remember, to find the y-intercept, x has to be equal to 0. So if I go 1 back here from 1, that will be a 0. Okay, x is 0. This one is going to be my y-intercept. So if I go back here, that will be a 3, because we're doing the opposite, right? If adding 1 going this way, we're going to be subtracting 1 going that way. So this is over here is my y-intercept, 3. Okay, now I got everything. I can write down the function of the equation, and what will be y equals 1 times x plus 3. Okay, that is my equation. I can write it down as a function of n there, so I can write it down as a of n, it's the same thing, right, equals to 1n plus 3. Now, what are they asking for? They're asking for the 25th term. So I'm going to be plugging 25th where the n is. So 8 of 25 is equal to 1 times, hey, I'm doing 25, that's my n, right? 1 times 25 plus 3. So 825, that's my 25 term, is 25 plus 3, which is basically 28. 28. Simple, okay? All right. Now let's do one a little different. Let's see if you guys can figure it out. Let me move it. This, get a different piece of paper. And this is the one I want you guys to do for me. See if you can figure it out. It's a little more complicated. If you're able to figure it out, then you're a genius here. So D equals 4, that's the common difference. That common difference is 4. Remember, D stands for common difference. This is the common difference, which is the same thing as the slope, right? And 4. Common difference and the slope is the same thing in arithmetic sequence. And then they're telling you that 7th term is equal to -9. They're not giving you the sequence. They're only giving you a part of the sequence, only one coordinate. They're giving you the 7th term is equal to -9. How would you write down the equation of the function? So pause the video, see if you're able to figure it out. All right, so let's see if we can figure it out. Now, 8 of 7 equals to -9. So this is if you guys remember from the previous chapter, this is the same thing as having f of 7, function of 7, right, is equals, f of 7 is equal to -9. Remember, f of x is y. And this is the same thing as having a coordinate, which is, this is your x, which is 7, right? That's your x. And that's your y, -9. Now, you got the slope, which is the common difference. You got a coordinate. And if we go back to the previous chapter, okay, we can write down an equation of the line or a function using the slope and a coordinate. Okay, so let's see if you guys remember here. Basically, I'm using y equals, again, mx plus b, the slope intercept form. I'm going to be plugging x's and y's and the slope. I'm going to be solving for b because I need my y-intercept. I got my slope already. I need my y-intercept, b. So my y is going to be -9. That's my y, -9. My slope is going to be 4. Remember that slope, that's 4. My common difference is the same thing. That one is the same thing. Here. My x is 7. Let me write down, use different color. 7 plus b. Now I gotta solve this linear equation here, simplify and solve it. So -9 equals to 4 times 27, that's 28, plus b. One-step equation, subtracting 28 to both sides of the equation. 28 and -28 cancel each other, and we got a b equals to negative 37. Okay, I got my slope, I got my y-intercept. I can plug it in. All right, remember, y equals mx plus b. This b goes in here, right, the negative 37, and this slope goes in here, right? That's just like we did in the previous chapter. Y, okay, equals to 4x. Okay, remember that's the slope, 4. Plus negative 37. That's my y-intercept, okay? This is what I got here, and goes in here, and it goes in here, okay? We did this before in the previous chapter. So I can write it down, simplify this. Let me move it up a little bit. Y equals 4x minus 37. Now I'm going to write it down in a function form using the an. So I can write it down as 8 of n, or an, equals to 4 times n minus 37. I'm looking for what term? Oh, I forgot to tell you. Let's say that I want to be looking for I want to look for the 25th term. Let's ask that question now. I'm going to look for that 25th term. So if I want to look for the 25th term, I can write down 25th term right there. 4 times 25 minus 37. And if I do that, well, what am I getting? I don't know. Let's do the calculations here. 4 times 25 is 100 minus 37. 8 times 8 25th, 100 minus 37. Basically 63. Right? I could ask you, hey, what is the 100th term? The same thing. You plug in 100 right there. Keep simplifying. What is the 1,000th term? You plug in 1,000 right there, and you find out. Okay? I hope that was helpful. Please do your assignments.